Hello, everybody. This is Josh and John with the Reign of Books. This is a book talk on Endymion. Endymion is part 3 of a 4-part series by science fiction author Dan Simmons. We are huge fanboys, so we're gonna pretty much geek out on this book talk. But Endymion being part 3, we'll give you a little bit of context for 1 and 2 because this is a huge spoiler book talk. Part 3 of Endymion, we're gonna start out by talking about humanity is out in the stars. There's a huge epic war. So if you're into this type of soap opera science fiction like Star Wars, this is the thinking man's Star Wars. It's not hard to read. It's easy to pick up. The narrative is straightforward, action-packed. Characters that are three-dimensional, ensemble cast that rival anything in Middle-earth, in my opinion. Great ensemble cast. But you've got to pay attention. John, tell me if I'm wrong, but if you don't pick up on the whole narrative and you kind of just try to breeze through it, speed read, you're going to miss the point. It's not just soap opera, science fiction soap opera. This thing is about humans in outer space, and do we deserve a second chance?
That's right, Josh. That is what it's about. And one of the first lines in this book was, how do I know what to think until I see what I say? And when I read that part in the book, I said to myself, uh-oh. Maybe I'm not smart enough for this book, but no, it was a good read.
So it's a good read. It doesn't have a huge ensemble cast like the first 2 books, but this is good because, okay, again, spoiler cast. If you're still watching, stop watching. Go read the synopsis, or you can geek out with us, and hopefully in the 10 minutes we're talking about this, we can convince you, even though we tell you the whole plot, that this thing is totally worth reading because we're not going to do justice to Dan Simmons. He comes with huge philosophical ideas about how humanity has gotten itself in its situation with technology we've created. The technology we've created has come back to bite us in the butt, kind of like the Terminator. So he borrows from the greatest concepts of humanity, evolution, Christianity, religion, but he pumps it into a narrative where you're like, whoa, this is awesome action. So in Endymion, we're on the planet Hyperion, which has a long history. Go read the first 2 books. But it's a duology, the first 2. This is a separate story, which is good, but you still have to read the first 2 to understand the importance of Hyperion. We meet a native, Endymion. He meets a Messiah who comes through time, a 12-year-old Messiah who doesn't have any wicked powers, so Rawl actually has to protect her. In addition to this craziness is a Terminator-type figure called the Shrike. And the Shrike is bad in the first 2 books. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Dude's evil.
Best bad guy ever.
Best bad guy ever and scariest. The illustrations of him would scare your kids under the bed, I think. So don't talk about the Shrike in front of the little ones. But in this book, he comes back and he helps in the very beginning. So he's an ambiguous figure that helps but then disappears. Dan Simmons is a master of saying, hey, we don't know who's good and who's bad. So who's bad in this book? We have Rawl, who's just this normal guy on Hyperion having to save this girl, take her on her journey to reach her destination. So the book's it's not a coming-of-age story. She's going to stay 12 the whole time. So you get this vulnerability and this sense of they're never going to make it because there's this huge evil-type empire called the Pax. And the Pax is a theocracy. They're ruled by the church. Christianity, which was on the edge of extinction, is now back in full force. How? Because the promise of immortality will boost your membership numbers in any organization.
Well, and the Technocore had been taken down in the previous story, and they developed this nice little device that looked like a cruciform that would resurrect you when you died.
Pretty good offer.
And conveniently in 3 days exactly.
So this thing, if you're not getting the whole resurrection messianic thing, is pretty heavy, but it's all put into perspective. It's like, are these guys really the good guys?
No,
why are they after
they're not,
the girl?
Josh. You know, and but they're not the good guys, and they considered the girl to be some kind of virus, or she had a virus, and that wasn't really explained in this book. So I'm still kind of hoping in the next book we found out why exactly she is a virus, if she has a virus or not. But the church in this story has been completely perverted and turned on its head, and they're worshiping a god, but it's the wrong god. It's the machine god. It's not the human god. And they did it so they could gain political power. No, the masses don't know it. But Dan Simmons has brought this great dynamic in by perverting what I should look at as the truth, 100% truth about God, wanting to do the right thing, follow God's laws, and the church has been completely perverted and turned into this political organization seeking power.
But here's what makes the great story. It also has the military power. And so you have soldiers who are Christians who want to sit here and see, make sure the Technocore, the evil robots, don't destroy humanity. But these soldiers don't know that they're working, they're working for a church that has gone down the wrong path. So Anya and Raul are by themselves with the robot on an ancient ship, and they got a flying carpet. I mean, this
flying carpet, exactly, and that was the secret weapon here. If only the church had known we had a flying carpet. I hate that thing so much.
Oh man, but it saved them. You're right. Those guys didn't know what ancient technology can outdo new stuff any day. It's kind of like in Battlestar Galactica, where all the networked ships got taken down, but the Galactica was not networked, and it didn't get the virus. So
exactly, and they had a flying carpet. Same thing.
Get your flying carpets. But the soldier who's chasing them from the Pax, that's the evil theocracy, his name's DeSoya. Captain DeSoya is actually a character you can root for because he doesn't want to destroy the girl. He wants to, keep her safe. So there's so many good action sequences where they're in their one little ship out maneuvering this huge military force. And DeSoya does have the fastest ship in the galaxy, the Millennium Falcon, but it's called the Raphael. And so basically, whenever they meet up with the girl before DeSoya, he finds out, kind of the larger context, the larger evil plot. He's chasing her, and she outmaneuvers him once, twice, and I love
Raft. Raft outmaneuvers spaceship.
Yeah, at first 300-year-old spaceship outmaneuvers DeSoya, then a raft outmaneuvers DeSoya.
We make it sound terrible, but it was believable when you read the book.
Yes, you're right, because he's a heck of a gumshoe. He's the only one who can track her down. They go through worlds. What are the worlds? First, it's the jungle with the ancient Mayan stuff. It's not that cool, but it gets cooler with the ocean world. It's like Water World, which I love with Kevin Costner, because I don't care if it's just a cult classic, one of the best science fiction cult classics out there. But they go to the water world where there's a killer action sequence. These larger concepts of love and of philosophy of the human condition and the parallel evolution of man and machine, which you brought up, John, it's all fleshed out. Anya is a 12-year-old, but she's got these prescient powers. She knows that she's going to save the world, and she's a little scared. But they get to the water world. They fight off fish. They fight off bad guys. It's really cool. I really like Water World.
There's some flechette action. People get torn to shreds. It's kind of gory, kind of awesome.
And it's crazy. Dan Simmons makes you think the heroes, they're in peril every second. Then they go to something even worse. It's an ice world with wraith monsters. It's like Hoth on steroids, and you're like freaking out. It's almost unbelievable. It's like heavier gravity. They can't survive. They get hypothermia. They have to. There is all this craziness, but then the emotional moments. And Dan Simmons.
There's a big group hug in there at one point.
Big group hug.
Sleeping bag, trying to stay warm. So great, yeah.
But it's an important group hug. It's an important group hug. And so there's so much in the book, and we talked about a couple of larger concepts within the journey itself. And DeSoya, the Shrike doesn't come back. So we are kind of the odds are against us. Us meaning the three, Anya, Raul, and Endymion, and their blue android pal, which, again, all the characters are three-dimensional. We absolutely love them. They get off that planet, but there's a lot of collateral damage. There's a new character introduced. It's the Terminator 2. It's the female that is basically better than the Shrike, who is the ultimate bad guy in the beginning. So Dan Simmons knows how to make it believable, a pure evil character who does not regard life, who kills everybody in her wake to get to these three. And you just simply hate this bad guy. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And you get sprinkled in these larger concepts of future robot gods and all this action. It's like, whoa. My head was spinning, but it's still easy to access. Am I wrong, John?
No, it's a pretty good read. And we need to comment, too, on the writing of Dan Simmons and how high level it is. So this is not third grade level writing or fourth grade level. This is adult level writing, but if you put a little time and effort into the book, it flows very well, and you can wrap your head around these high-level concepts. This is not a story that you're going to breeze through and get to the end and go, wow, that was a great book, because probably you'll be frustrated if you do it that way. You have to read it, and if you do, the rewards are huge, huge. I know I was cracking jokes, but this book connected in a very emotional way because he developed these characters so well. I even cared about the environment, and yes, I really cared about Carpet. Okay, Flying Carpet. I really like Flying Carpet. Okay, he was a great character in the book. So,
but you're talking
to that writing.
The fact that this thing will stick with you, I think it will sit on our shelves.
Timeless classic. It's Lord of the Rings level. This is, to me, the best science fiction writing I have ever read. So far, it's the best novel writing I have read. It's just outstanding in every way, I can tell you. He closes loopholes. He doesn't leave anything open. I thought I detected plot holes at some point, but I believe he's closed those up effectively.
So it will stay with you for a long time, and it'll stay on your bookshelves. Honestly, we're going to compare everything else we read to this story. It's kind of spoiled us. And if you want that story of that caliber, go check it out. And at the end of this actual narrative, there's a huge epic battle between Terminator 1 and 2. There's got to be. And then these larger concepts of love. Does Anya make it? Dan Simmons does leave that for the next book. This was her actually coming through this journey to reach the end point, the end of the beginning, so to speak. You know, these epic journeys have these layers, and Roland Endymion is her savior and protector. And he didn't at any point want to abandon her. So there's this personal, important relationship that's going to evolve even further, which again is the power of Dan Simmons' writing. It makes you care about the characters. So the fate of humanity, the fate of these guys, we'll wrap it up with the conclusion. We'll do a book talk on that. But thanks everybody for joining us. We're at thereignofbooks.com. This is a recommendation you don't want to miss. Thanks, John, for talking. We'll catch you next time.